Welcome to the Alien Portal podcast, where we ask the questions to the most out of this world topic, explore the world of ufology and ancient historical evidence of aliens. Come along for the ride while we learn of the existence of and coexistence with beings out of this world. Thank you for joining us today. I am Cris, your host, and I am with my dear friend B.
Hello, everyone.
Well, today we're going to have a strange topic, and I call it the collective mind. So, do you know what the collective mind is, B?
Sounds like a hive mentality.
Yes, very similar to that. Very, very similar. So, inventors and innovators, and even entrepreneurs, bring our society into the future. And they keep our society from stifling. In my personal opinion, they are the heart of our society, pumping ideas throughout the world. But how do they get their ideas? I want to use an example of two mathematicians and inventors of the 1600s. First is Isaac Newton. In 1966 discovered symmetric polynomials, which I will not even try to explain, but my point is that in 1629 another mathematician had discovered the same thing by the name of Albert Girard. They never knew each other or their work, so how is this possible? And I
That's
believe it's
interesting.
the collective mind.
Okay. You believe that they're like super geniuses and tapped into each other's brains?
Yeah, they're tapped into something, kind of like how, I don't know how Wi Fi works, but how it's up in the air
Mm-hmm.
and we're able to grab it and and I think
Right.
that's how,
Surf the net.
yeah, they're surfing a special net. Um, well, like you said about the hive mind, and just like bees have a hive mind, I believe we have something similar. This is
Okay.
why we also share. Sometimes, uh, I think I'm probably going to butcher this, but folly adieu,
Mm-hmm.
folly of two, or madness shared by two, also
Mm-hmm.
known as shared psychosis or shared delusional disorder (SDD), is a psychiatric syndrome in which symptoms of a delusional belief and sometimes hallucinations are transmitted from one individual to another.
See, that's so weird to me, is being able like to see somebody else's psychosis. Can't imagine.
Yeah.
It'd
So,
be great if like you can share a great idea, but it's sad that it's just a negative.
yeah. Do you remember the movie um, Close Encounter of the Fourth Kind?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fourth kind is the one that's based in Alaska, and that one, for those who don't know, is about alien abduction and contact.
Mm-hmm.
And this entire town has this belief that they have this uh, abduction scenario for themselves, and they um, they have this psychosis, this shared psychosis, just like I just explained.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, let's move on.
Okay.
Um,
Also reminds me of Children of the Corn.
yeah, that too. Well, if the psychosis thing can occur, then why not share knowledge through the collective mind?
Okay.
One person that thought his ideas came from elsewhere was Nikola Tesla. So Nikola Tesla used to say that he got his ideas from up there.
Okay.
So we know him as great inventor of alternating current AC power,
Mm-hmm.
which is what's used today to power our homes and practically everything.
Right.
I'm not saying that Tesla thought aliens gave him his ideas, but I do believe that if aliens exist, then they are part of this collective mind of ours. So,
Well, that would also make sense on if you want to say how some of the wonders of the world were built. You
hmm,
know, you can because they could be inspired by, like you said, the collective mind. And if there are aliens involved in it, then, who's to say? Because, they were always wondering how ancient civilizations could have advanced technologies.
uh
And so
huh,
if they're not coming down and giving it to them, maybe they are transmitting it, you know,
yeah, that's
mentally.
interesting. I never really, picked up on something like that, but that sounds very, very possible too. Um, Tesla was ahead of his times with his ideas. I think we all know that.
Hmm.
The man thought he could power the world using a Tesla coil. His giant Tesla coil was never completed due to financial troubles and defunding,
Hmm.
but the tower is still there, where unfinished, obviously, where
So
he
what's the tower
started it.
called?
What's the tower called?
Hmm.
I'm not sure if it has a name, but it's a giant Tesla coil.
Okay.
It was intended to power a whole section of the area where he is at, just through the ground. So his ideas actually work in smaller ways. So he's able to power a light bulb just in the air next
Hmm.
to one of his Tesla coils, and which that's pretty amazing. Could you imagine just free power throughout the universe, not the universe, throughout the world, um, because
You know
we're,
they'd find a way to tax it.
well, because, well, somebody's got to build the the Tesla coils, but
Mm.
I think he was so ahead of his time. I actually think he was murdered, and I don't think he died of natural causes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's my
What makes you think
opinion.
he was murdered?
Well, because after his death, a lot of his journals went missing. So supposedly, people that came in from the government, they took his work, and that work has never been seen or found.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, another inventor that I believe knew how to tap into the collective mind was Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I like him. He's neat.
yeah, he is. And for those who don't know, he's an artist and an inventor,
Hmm.
and pretty much a an
Renaissance man.
Renaissance man. Yeah, overall, he knew a lot. He invented a corkscrew helicopter, a tank, and even automatons, which are moving robots moved by gears, levers, and pulleys.
Hmm.
If we were to believe his ideas came from elsewhere, then I am choosing aliens. So,
Okay. Well, there you go.
yeah, I sound crazy, but
Hmm.
what this podcast isn't.
Well, it's to get you out of your comfort zone, make you think about things you hadn't thought about before,
Yeah.
introduce you to new ideas and then prove them either right or wrong and, inform us as well. It's kind of a mutual learning experience.
Mm-hmm. It is. Well, think about it. Have you ever had the same thought as someone else or at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that night, like we all had chocolate cake. That was
Uh-huh.
so funny. Quick story. The group that I hang out with, we all live in different states or, different areas. And so there was four of us and we all had chocolate cake at some point during the day. And then we got together that evening and talked about it, and we had figured out that we had all had chocolate cake. So maybe that's what was going on that day. It's like our little hive mentality.
Yeah.
The alien said, "You shall eat chocolate cake," and we were like, "Yum."
Well, I believe chocolate cake is part of the collective mind too. Mhm. You know, those moments where you're like, I was just thinking that, that's what I'm talking about. And I know that the chocolate cake there is part of it.
Hmm.
I think, don't you feel that connection, just for a moment that this person is tapped into your thoughts? Don't you feel that
I
sometimes?
do feel that sometimes, depending on the person, they have to be very close to me. But like my mother, sister, and I, we will think about the other one, and then we start calling each other. It's
Mm.
almost like a trickle effect. And then we're like, I was just thinking about you. And it's like, well, it's time for me to call.
The same thing happens with me and my mother, where she calls me and I was just thinking about calling her. She just
Hmm.
beat me to the punch.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can call it telepathy or whatever you want, but I think a conversation that's telepathy is a conversation for another day. But
That'd be a fun one.
yeah, it would be. But the collective mind in general is one of those things that I believe probably can lead to something like that.
Okay.
I hope you'll remember me when someone blurbs out your thoughts before you.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, that is it for us today, the episode of Alien Portal Podcast. Please leave a comment or a question. I'm eager to hear what you have to think. Thank you for listening, and until next time, my friends.
Have a good day.
Bye.